This is my third, I think, gathering for Gardner, and I think perhaps Martin Gardner's biggest legacy is the community that he's created that all of you are part of. And the question is, how do we continue to create that community for the new generation? Many people in this room grew up with Martin Gardner's columns and became part of this community through your engagement with those columns. But what do we do now to try and keep inspiring people and to create that sense of community for people who are at the age that many of you were when you first started reading Martin's columns? So I work with the National Museum of Mathematics, and that's part of our goal, is to create a community not just in New York but around the country and around the world, where young folks feel like it's okay to be inspired by and love mathematics. And so we sometimes come up with some crazy ideas. And one of them that I want to share with you today, we called Pythagorize the Flatiron. This came about in a meeting of volunteers where we were talking about the fact that December 5th, 2013 could be called Pythagoras Day, perhaps, since it's 12/5/13. And of course, everybody immediately started thinking about different things, and someone noted that the Flatiron Building is indeed a right triangle. And of course, everyone went on the web immediately and discovered that it's actually a 5/12/13 right triangle. So we sent out one email that told people that we were proclaiming this Pythagoras Day, and we wanted some folks to come out and help us measure the Flatiron Building and prove that it was a right triangle. And on the basis of that one email, we had over 3,000 responses, and over 2,000 people showed up. We were worried about getting 450. To get around the whole perimeter of the Flatiron, but we had over 2,000 show up. So the first thing that happened was a couple of us had to make some midnight forays out to the Flatiron Building. We started trying things with powerful flashlights. That didn't work. We tried lasers. That worked really well, but turned out to be illegal. And then eventually we settled on some giant projectors and even more giant batteries that last for 9 minutes in a December cold evening. So we had 9 minutes. This was one of the evening forays. We thought maybe we could project right on the building. So there's the massive text. That was one of our first attempts. And then what we did was we sent that email and we told everyone, okay, we had too many people for everyone to be involved with measuring the Flatiron. So we just said, bring or sport your favorite right triangle. And I'm just going to share with you some of the responses we got. There was someone who had a Pythagorean proof tattooed on his leg. The guy in the center made a Pythagorean diagram out of crackers. The girl has face paint. On the left, there's a Pythagorean shirt. There's some Pythagorean hats in the middle. And I think those might be Pythagorean mittens. I'm not sure. We had really involvement from all different ages, which was terrific. The three women at the top are three retired math teachers who had Pythagorean hats. The woman on the right designed her own shirt, and then there was a group of adults and teenagers that made their own shirts and triangles on them. Again, more people showed up with different kinds of hats and signs. I like the little boy on the right had lots of right triangles in his hat. But the idea that we had over 2,000 people come out, and there were toddlers all the way up to senior citizens, everybody got really excited about it. And it created that sense of community that you were all part of. And that's the kind of thing we want to keep on doing in New York and around the country. The top left, a group of college students that got together. It's hard to see on the bottom left, but this girl made hair decoration out of a right triangle. We actually projected a proof up on the Flatiron Building. We did all three sides at the same time. And if you know New York City, you won't be surprised to know that afterwards, the most common question we got is, wow, where did you project from? We had three projectors right on the street, right in front of people, but there's a lot of things in the city and people don't notice what's going on. The bottom right, you see our unit of measurement was a glow stick. And so the 450 people who were the first 450 to register each got a glow stick, and we literally did measure the Flatiron and prove that it was indeed a 5/12/13 right triangle. We got coverage around the country. This was my favorite headline, some squares, some squares. I think you have to be a square to appreciate that, but we all did. And I think, you know, it sort of gets at the idea that it's cool to be square, it's hip to be square, right? That's what we want to let kids know, because there's lots of kids who think math is cool. They don't have Martin Gardner writing his columns anymore. We want to create lots of opportunities for them to feel part of something. And I guarantee you that those kids who came out on December 5th will never forget that evening. Will never forget being part of 2,000 people. At one point, they were all chanting proof, 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 as we did a rearrangement proof. And I have a video that I can show you.
What's going to happen here is we're going to actually measure the 3 sides of the Flatiron building using glow sticks as our unit of measurement. We're going to line the entire building with a giant glowing right triangle, the largest demonstration the Pythagorean theorem has ever seen.
As a nation, we're not graduating enough math majors. How do we get kids to do better in math? We get them excited about math.
Hudson, go see on this side, bud. Yes. Roll them end to end. Look up at the...
Like we're on the same page. Now we're kind of...
We are 180. 180, 180, 180, 180.
And that's it.
Yes. Some people may know, locals may know, there's a Flatiron building here in Atlanta, about 2 blocks away from here. So has anybody measured that one?
I don't know if anyone has, but there won't be another Pythagorean triple date for a little while. So we'll have to think of another reason to come measure a building in Atlanta. Yeah, Peter.
Cindy, having been there, yeah, so the numbers came out to be 75, 180, and 195.
Correct.
Which I felt at the time was suspiciously perfect. Okay?
That is how it worked out.
I mean, were those light bars cut to a particular length to make it
No,
work?
no, we just figured out the sides of the building and then how many light sticks we needed. I mean, yes, there's a little bit of rounding that goes on.
2% of actual.
No, but I mean, the numbers came out were a perfect.
The numbers really did
Yeah,
work
yeah,
out. I mean,
yeah.
it was, when we sat in that,
Within 2% of the actual dimensions of the building.
Oh, okay, all right, but what? Okay.
we
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
cut those. In fact, initially we thought, how are we ever going to get 450 people? So we thought we would tape 2 light sticks together so we would only need 225 people. And then we offered a volunteer appreciation dinner that night. So we thought if we gave people dinner, maybe we'd have some luck getting 200 people. We didn't expect to have over 3,000, and we certainly, I mean, we got emails from a group that are descendants from the island where Pythagoras lived, and they apparently have a whole community, and they all came out. It was rather incredible.
Well, anyway, you guys did a great job.
Thank you. Peter was there, so you can ask him more questions.
Should I just start talking? Yeah. A year from now, it's going to be 31415. Do you have plans to measure any round buildings in New York?
You know what? We are doing something. It turns out to be a Saturday, and we're actually doing a series of events around the city called Math Happenings, of which this was the first. The next one is underway for this summer, but it's a secret still, so you have to get on the MoMath mailing list to be kept in the loop. That's momath.org.
So let's give MoMath another round of applause.